from the beginning. They fail to point out that 6 of those hijackers have shown up alive. They also discuss Muhammad Atta, describing him as a fanatic Muslim, obviously so devout he was ready to meet his maker. They omit the fact, as Daniel Hupsicker has revealed, that Atta was very fond of alcohol, pork, and lap dances. They hardly discuss the World Trade Center collapses. They do not discuss the fact that fire has never brought down a high-rise steel frame building. They do not discuss the fact that the collapses had 10 characteristics that are common to controlled demolitions. They do not even mention the collapse of building number 7, and of course, therefore, the comment by Larry Silverstein, the one who had a lease on it, that he and the fire department decided to pull it, that is, have it brought down by explosives. They do not discuss the removal of the steel, which would have covered up any evidence of explosives. With regard to the crash into the Pentagon, they ignore several of the most puzzling questions, assuming the official theory. That is, why would terrorists have struck the West Wing, which was being renovated, so it had very few people, and when all the top brass and Rumsfeld were in the East Wing? They do not discuss the fact that photos taken by the Associated Press and even by a Marine show that up till 30 minutes after the building was allegedly hit by a 757 going 400 some miles an hour, the facade had not collapsed. They don't discuss the fact that these photos show that the hole that was created was very tiny, that no Boeing could have gone inside of it. They don't mention that photos show there was no Boeing outside the Pentagon. They don't mention that the Pentagon's anti-missile system should have brought down any commercial airline coming near the Pentagon. With regard to Bush's behavior that day, they do not force the question as to why the Secret Service did not whisk him away when there should have been fear that he would be one of the terrorist targets. They do not discuss the most specific of the advance warnings. They did not ask Ashcroft what was the warning he got so that he would no longer fly commercial airplanes. They do not mention David Schipper's report that prior to 9/11 he tried to inform Ashcroft that several members of the FBI were telling him that they knew that attacks were scheduled for that time in lower Manhattan. They do discuss the put options, but they dismiss it, saying, "We found that the man who bought most of the United Airlines put options had no conceivable connection to Al-Qaeda, therefore he could have had no foreknowledge." This is a perfect example of how the official theory dictated what evidence was relevant.
And a much better evacuation. And these people.
My son was murdered! You killed him!
Real question. Let's ask a real question. Is that unfair? And what about the bunker? You didn't ask him about the bunker, the Office of Emergency Management bunker on fire? It burned.
We are getting ready for the next round.
Remember this. Your government funded and trained Al-Qaeda. Repeat it again. Your government funded and trained Al-Qaeda.
I've talked primarily about the Commission's omissions, but there is another remarkable dimension, the revisionism of this report. In Chapter 1, they give us a completely new version, which is actually the third official version of what happened on 9/11. This version is clearly intended to absolve the Pentagon of all blame by portraying the FAA as staffed by incompetent bunglers, ones who couldn't recognize a hijacking when all 3 or 4 regular characteristics were staring them in the face. And then people at FAA headquarters who could not bring themselves to pick up the phone and call the military even after they knew of hijackings. This part should win a prize for creative fiction. In short, the 9/11 Commission report is a national disgrace. But what can we do? We cannot get on the mainstream media to make these truths known. Probably we need to organize massive protests, massive enough to force the mass media to pay attention. The first step in this, of course, is to get enough people informed about the facts about 9/11 and about the cover-up so that we can create this mass movement.